Hello everyone and welcome back to my F1 2020 My Team career mode journey for the round in Azerbaijan. So let's see what we can do around the city streets of Baku. Hopefully we can have a good qualifying session here, so let's get into it. Alright, so here we are for qualifying in Azerbaijan. This is our second flying lap in Q1, so we'll see what we can do if we can improve on our initial time, which wasn't bad, but currently I don't think it will be good enough to get us through into the next session. So we'll see what we can do on our second flyer, getting through the first sector fairly well, a little bit deep into turn 4, but other than that it was fairly neat and tidy. Now into the very sort of tight and twisty part of the circuit, and where I tend to lose a fair amount of time getting through the first part of the castle section. Okay, now into the middle part, and getting through fairly close to the walls. Could be a little bit stronger through there, running a little wide on the exit, but still maintaining the momentum through that section. That is the most important thing. And now heading down to this very awkward left-hander, and hopefully we can get it turned here, almost understeering into the wall, but we get away with it. And now into the final sector, just one corner really to manage, and it is all flat out from here as we head through this light right-hander, and this little S-bend in the back straight can be very awkward, probably more so in the Formula 2 cars, but easy enough to go through there flat. In the F1 cars, DRS all the way to the line, and we'll see if we can improve on our time enough to get into the next session. Wait for the update. P15, we are through into Q2. So there you have it. Q2 appearance for us for the first time, I believe, since Australia. Oh, maybe we got through in Zandvoort, I'm not sure. But Danny Kvyat gets through. Lando Norris knocked out, as well as Gasly, George Russell, Guan Yu Zhou, and Lance Stroll also knocked out, along with Latifi and our teammate getting qualified by George Russell, so that's not great. But yeah, Lando Norris and Lance Stroll really should have gotten through, and myself and Kvyat maybe got a little bit lucky there with those two down the order. But I'll take that, and we'll head into Q2 for what seems like the first time in quite a while. So here we go, and we'll see what time we can do in this, if we can move any higher than 15th place. Obviously we did do 2 runs in Q1, so we don't have the benefit of having 2 runs at it in this session, so I've left it right to the end. I think the session is already over at this point, and we'll see what time we can put in as we head through the middle section now into the castle section. Very tricky, of course, but let's see if we can just get through there cleanly. A little bit cautious there through that right hand, and now into the very tight narrow part, and we absolutely throw it in through there, and probably gained a bit of time on what I did in the first session. Now through the very awkward corner, and here it is all easy to the end. Just one simple 90-degree corner, getting a little bit on the curve there, which probably set us off the ideal line. But anyway, we come to the line and we go to position 11. How has that happened? P11 for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Verstappen is knocked out. He's in P12. Sainz, as well as Magnussen, Kvyat, and Grosjean all getting knocked out. How have we done that? We have qualified a Red Bull. Verstappen really did not get a good lap in this session, clearly. And Albon only just snuck through in P9, so Red Bull really lacking some pace. But anyway, let's get into the race.
A warm welcome to all of you watching at home to today's Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and a race that in its short history has already proven no stranger to drama. A 4th row start is just about as likely to give you a podium as a pole position would. And remember, in 2017 and 2018, both Lance Stroll and then Sergio Perez took surprise podiums here. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. Now, Anthony Davidson, I wonder, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams, all trying to put some pressure on or disrupting things for the leaders up front?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you got your own race to run. I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies. If you're running second and third, for example, bringing one car in for an undercut while leaving the other one out there longer can put a lot of pressure on the leader and maybe force them into an error.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, and Albon. Raikkonen, Perez, Giovinazzi, and Esteban Ocon. The scientist, Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, and Magnussen. Kvyat, Grosjean, Lando Norris, and Pierre Gasly. Russell, Joe, Stroll, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Alright, so here we are on the grid for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. No penalties to speak of for the cars ahead, so it will be P11 for us in this one. Strategy will be soft tyres to 2 sets of mediums, so let's get into it. I'm not sure what everyone else is doing. I had a look at the race director, but that just only tells you their starting tyre, of course, but gives you an idea. But anyway, we go to the 5 red lights. And lights are out. We are underway for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's a great start for us, and we go around the outside of quite a few cars, and we're going to find our way up into 7th position as Albon's a little bit held up behind Sebastian Vettel and Ricciardo, who are battling side by side through the first few corners. Round the outside of Albon through turn 2, and we move ourselves up into 6th as Ricciardo starts inching ahead of Sebastian Vettel along the next straight. Albon gets a bad exit. We're clear, and Ricciardo with a great start as well. He moves up into 4th place ahead of Vettel. Leclerc chasing the Mercedes down in the podium places. But yeah, great start for both myself and Daniel Ricciardo to get some very decent track position. In fact, we're right behind Sebastian Vettel now in the middle phase of this first lap, but we're not going to be too bothered about him because we've already gained some really amazing track position for the car we're driving.
Good start. Keep it up.
So yeah, let's just maintain what we have as Raikkonen goes flying past in that Alfa Romeo. They are supremely fast at this circuit, despite having relatively weak chassis and aero in a straight line. They are unbelievable.
Confirmed. We'll receive you at the end of this lap.
We come into the pits a few laps earlier. Nothing really happened in that first stint, but we could see
Some information on Norris. They seem to have an issue.
Ricciardo was coming in ahead of us, so I thought I would just match his strategy and just do what he did, because he is in for the medium tyres as well.
Go, go, go. You'll be racing on the exit. Go, go, go. We'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in our strategy.
Yeah, even though we did start on fresher tyres than Ricciardo, as we send one down the inside into turn 3, and we just about get a stopped and turn. That is a supremely aggressive move, but we get it done and move our way ahead of Ricciardo. We'll grab a replay super late on the brakes and just about squeaking through there. And yeah, that was very opportunistic, but very nice move nonetheless. But he's going to come right back at us with DRS.
Guan Yu is in the pits. Guan Yu
And
in the pits.
no doubt a whole pile of engine mode and ERS to go with it, and to sweep straight back past us along the straight. So that may have been for nothing in the end, but still a great overtake as
Okay, we lost the position. Try to keep focus.
we again experience the straight line speed of the Alfa Romeo. Can we make a move back at him though, down the inside, and we get the move done back on Giovinazzi, and we're very lucky there because he actually overtook us before the DRS detection point along that main straight. So that's why we had fairly equal speed by the end of it. Otherwise I don't think that would have been possible. But what I'm noticing, especially in this race, is the braking on this car is absolutely insane, and so is that straight line speed. He must have an extra 20 k's an hour or something in that car. That is absolutely ridiculous in that Alfa Romeo. But anyway, as we continue on, we continue to struggle as the Red Bull tries to go around the outside, but we hold him off for now. That is Alexander Albon trying to make the move on us once again after he had not the greatest start to his race. Remember, we overtook him at turn 2 around the outside, so a bit of a personal score to settle there between us, but we're holding him off for now as Gasly and Giovinazzi battle away up ahead side by side into turn 3. Gasly holds on for now. Gasly hasn't actually made a pit stop. He's still got 2 stops to make in this race, I think, so he's really holding us up. We've actually been at this point stuck behind him for a long time, and we eventually make the move round the outside into turn 3, and we make that move stick. But that was really frustrating to be stuck behind Gasly like that for so long, and that did ruin our race slightly. Not sure that bit was out about there, but anyway, as we continue on, it appears that it is not time for our second stop. It is time for Carlos Sainz to retire from the race with a mechanical failure. Unfortunate for him, but that is the way the race ends for Carlos. We move on. Verstappen goes blazing past us, but we're going to make a move to the outside, just about keeping it on the road on the entry of the corner around the outside of Verstappen, and again the braking on this car is intense, and we make the move on Verstappen as we get very uncomfortably close to the wall there. As we go very deep though into turns 5 and 6, I believe they are, and Verstappen challenging us on the outside as we head towards the castle section. He's not going to hold that through there. Here's the onboard with Verstappen as we ran deep into those corners, and he just got a really bad exit there towards the castle section, or he would have been able to maintain that position. But as we move on, he's not going to give up Verstappen. He leaves us a bit more space there this time, but we managed to sweep around once again and maintain the position ahead of Verstappen. The straight line speed on that Red Bull really letting him down, because once he makes the move and gets out of slipstream, he just can't stay ahead. But eventually we start getting swamped by a few cars. That is Ocon and Perez side by side at Baku. That can only end well, as Lando Norris is getting involved as well around our outside. A bit of contact between us as Perez and Ocon are still side by side up ahead. Perez prevails as Lando Norris is still on our inside. We can't fight that anymore, and in fact we're actually going to make our second pit stop quite a few laps early, because we did get a little bit of damage from that bump with Lando Norris. So we need a new front wing on our car, and there was a bit of damage sort of accumulating on it over time as well from a few slight grazes with walls and curbs and such like. So it's about time that we got a clean slate on the front of our car and get a new front wing on, but it's a very slow stop.
Complete, go now.
Almost 9 seconds.
Look
so
after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
Yeah, losing probably a few more seconds than we could have there if they had done that front wing change quickly, but that's just bad luck, I suppose. But anyway, continuing, we now have to push absolutely flat out if we want to gain anything from this race. I think we may be in for some edge points if we can keep up the speed.
Safety car, safety car.
And the safety car is out, and that is for Pierre Gasly. We'll see what happened to him here, and oh my goodness, he goes for a spin very suddenly there, just after the castle section, and he is out of the race. Front left tyre ripped off, and what caused that? That's such a violent and quick spin. Front wheel getting ripped off as he spins 180 degrees. The front left wheel slaps the outside wall, and Gasly is out of the race, and very likely rather surprised by that. But anyway, as we come past the pit lane, the safety car is now on track, and we make an overtake on our teammate. But on the restart now, down the inside of a bunch of cars, and we get the moves done on quite a few cars, but Magnussen getting a few as well, as everyone's bottling up here. And if you look on the right, Charles Leclerc is going up the escape road with a mechanical failure on the safety car restart. That's not cool. We get an illegal overtake.
To give that position back. That was an illegal overtake.
on Esteban Ocon, and we have to let the world go by. So we lose most of those positions that we gained as we purge the Haas of Grosjean out of the way. So that has really ruined our restart. We were right behind Magnussen, our rival, remember. But now as we send one down the inside at the last moment of Russell and squeeze through just before the castle section, we need to make all the overtakes we can at this point. But that's really ruined the potential battle that we had with Magnussen. We had to give up so many positions. Magnussen gained tons of positions on that restart. It's ridiculous. But now we go down the inside, not quite, of Esteban Ocon.
The car behind is 1.7 seconds.
Not pulling the move off there. Now along the second major straight, we'll go down the inside. Little bit of contact, but we get the move done and squeeze Ocon out and move ourselves up another position up into 14th now. But it's a little bit too late, but we'll see if we can get back into the points. But we really needed to make the most of that restart as we're now putting the pressure.
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled.
And make the move on our teammate. He doesn't fight too hard, knows that we have the pace at this point in the Grand Prix. Sending one now down the inside and making the move stick on Danny Kvyat. So that's really nice progress up the field, and we are now in the points. So really great progress, I should say, but not going to last because Ocon has some major straight line speed advantage in that Renault. So that shows us where we have some area to improve. We've got the same power unit as them, so we clearly have a fairly draggy car. But that was Bottas exiting pit lane as we send one down the inside of Ocon, the same corner again. And that's almost a carbon copy of what we just saw. But what I was about to say, that is Bottas exiting pit lane there, so Mercedes have really screwed him over. He was already he had already made 2 stops as they're going 3 wide up ahead. Bottas backing out of it very wisely there. So yeah, he will be trying to fight his way back through side by side with Perez. We get a great exit out of that corner, and we're going to go 3 wide with Bottas and Perez into the castle section. We just about squeezed through on the inside. Perez pushed out into the wall, and somehow we managed to get past both of them. Here's the onboard with Sergio Perez, barely a car's width there on entry. No car's width on the exit, not enough space there, and Bottas hit the wall there as well. We'll have a look on board with him now to see his perspective, and there wasn't really a lot he could do. He was just sandwiched in the middle, but here he tries to leave space for Perez and runs himself straight into the wall, and that's another pit stop for him to get a new front wing on that car. So really disappointing for Bottas, but Mercedes
by 2.8 seconds.
really screwed him over when they hit him right after the safety car. But anyway, as we continue on, we again find ourselves in some decent track positions, again having to defend from Esteban Ocon, who's down the inside once again. We late brake around the outside, and we just about squeeze through and keep it on the track, and Ocon must be wondering what he's got to do to get this position from us, because he's coming at us once again down the inside. We late brake around the outside, sweep around, and I swear this is not a replay. You can look at the laps, they're changing every time, but Ocon just never able to make the move, and hopefully that can continue, but surely he'll get past at some point. But it's now actually not Ocon putting the pressure on, it's Lando Norris. We defend from him on the inside line that time. We ran a little bit wide, but Norris with a horrendous exit there out of turn 1 won't be challenging us on the run to turn 2, except we make a bit of a mistake, but it's all good. But Norris down the inside, we give him a big squeeze as we head towards turn 3, and he is not able to carry the mid-corner speed with that entry line into the corner, and we hold it through. I need a breath. This is getting too crazy. But final lap now, and there wasn't really too much more action to show. So we're going to come across the line for an incredibly hard-fought position 8. What a race. Lance Stroll, driver of the day.
And so ends another Azerbaijan Grand Prix, a fascinating race and a well-deserved victory. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
So Lewis Hamilton wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, gets his championship fight back on track. Sebastian Vettel picks up P2 and Kimi Räikkönen P3. Superb driving from him today.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the Drivers' Table. Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after an excellent result. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
Well, Lance Stroll would be my pick. He managed to keep a cool head today whilst pushing through the field.
Let's move on to the Constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good result moves them further up the championship. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So, at the end of the day, I can't be too disappointed with that. Looking back on it now, yeah, more points, not something we get too often. And I think that was P8, which is 4 points. And I think that should satisfy the goal for TriStar, which I didn't think we would get that goal until much later in the season, but some awesome defending today will secure that quite early on. So that's one thing we won't have to worry about too much for the rest of the season. Of course, we will want as many points as we can, but yeah, it would be good. It's good to know that we'll get that bonus at the end of the season when we get it. But what is really frustrating though is we were right behind Kevin Magnussen at the safety car restart. We followed him through the first corner and got that illegal overtake on Ocon. We actually had some quite severe contact with our teammate in all that exchange as well on the restart, but thankfully he didn't get any damage from that. But what's really frustrating though is that Magnussen ended up well into the points. He was 5th or 6th or something for memory, so yeah, really disappointing that we couldn't get that, because we actually had some relatively similar pace. There's all that chaos that unfolded, and there's the contact with our teammate as we had to let everyone back past. And yeah, that is definitely illegal overtake. Don't look at the track limits there. Oh, Russell tried to hold on to that. Yeah, really disappointing that we couldn't come away with more out of that, given what we could have gotten away with on that restart. But just the yellow flags came out at just the wrong moment, and yeah, it just went wrong. But anyway, 4 points, can't be too sad about that. But yeah, what could have been if we got away with those overtakes. But anyway, let's get into the management.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
Yeah, it was a bit of a struggle, but we got our way through. The braking ability of this car is absolutely insane, and that really helped us both gain positions and hold on to them once we got them. So yeah, it was quite incredible.
Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing.
Yeah, it's been a great season so far, and to bank 4 points is huge for us. So yeah, it has been good.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
No.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Alright, thank you, Claire. So, here we go. We get a bunch of acclaim, etc. As usual, 272,000 for our sponsors. 80,000 minus a few damages there. just under 2 mil in total. So not enough money to get any more facility upgrades at this point. Only 2 days until the next event, so we will do the weight training for Guan Yu Zhou to increase his pace by 1. As for vehicle upgrades, we will work on a major drag reduction upgrade that should help us with the straight line speed struggles that we had in Azerbaijan. But other than that, I will say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time for the round in Canada. Goodbye.